Catherine Winters stood at the viewport of the diplomatic wing, watching the swirl of stars beyond the massive Galactic Council station. After 10 years as Earth's voice among the stars, she still felt a sense of wonder each time she looked out at the galaxy. The station itself was a marvel of alien engineering, a massive spinning wheel housing representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations. And now, humanity sought to become the 18th. The door chimed behind her. "Enter," Catherine said, turning from the view. A young aide with bright blue skin and 4 eyes stepped into the room. The Moraxian bowed slightly, a gesture they had adopted when dealing with humans. "The council will see you in 30 minutes, Ambassador Winters." Catherine nodded. "Thank you, Ziv. I'll be ready." After the aide left, Catherine checked her appearance in the mirror. At 45, her brown hair showed the first strands of gray, and fine lines had formed at the corners of her eyes. She straightened her navy blue diplomatic uniform, making sure the small Earth flag pin sat perfectly on her lapel. Few people knew that before becoming a diplomat, Catherine had spent 15 years in Earth's special forces. The scars hidden beneath her uniform told stories of missions that never officially happened. That background had saved her life 3 times during her diplomatic career. The galaxy was not always a friendly place for humans. Her communication device buzzed. A message from Alan Mitchell, her deputy. Final intelligence report came in. Council members from Xarath and Vrelkar systems have been meeting privately. Something's not right. Catherine frowned. Both species had opposed human membership from the beginning. The Xarathi were silicon-based life forms who viewed organic species as inferior. The Vrelkar were ancient reptilians who simply didn't trust newcomers. She grabbed her data pad and walked through the curved hallways of the diplomatic wing. Human quarters were smaller than those of established council members. Another reminder of their junior status. Catherine entered the small secure room where Alan waited. Tall and lanky, he had been a professor of xenobiology before joining the diplomatic corps. "What did you find?" she asked. Alan projected a document into the air between them. This was hidden in a restricted database. They're planning to classify Earth as a resource world, not an equal member. Catherine's eyes narrowed as she read. The classification would allow council races to mine Earth's resources with minimal compensation. Humans would have no vote, no voice. How reliable is this? Very. Our source has never been wrong. Catherine took a deep breath. During her time as a soldier, she had learned that sometimes the best defense was a surprise attack. "I'm bringing this to the full council today." Alan's eyes widened. "That's not the protocol. We should file a formal inquiry first. If we do that, they'll bury the evidence. The Xarathi ambassador chairs the inquiry committee." Catherine shook her head. "No, we need to catch them off guard." She tucked the data pad into her pocket. "I need you to prepare a data package with all our evidence. Send it to Earth immediately with priority encryption. Mark it for the eyes of General Clark only." The general had been her commanding officer years ago. If things went wrong, she needed someone who would act. "You think they might try something?" Alan asked quietly. Catherine remembered the Aldebaran delegate who had accidentally fallen down an elevator shaft after opposing Teterethi mining rights. "Just a precaution," she said with a reassuring smile. "Politics can get complicated." As she walked toward the great chamber where the council met, Catherine felt the weight of 7 billion lives back on Earth. For 10 years, she had protected human interests through careful words and strategic compromises. Today would be different. Today she would confront the council with their own deception. Catherine didn't know it yet, but in 24 hours, the Galactic Council would learn a painful lesson about humanity. They would learn why humans told stories about Baba Yaga, the witch who could not be stopped, who always returned for vengeance. They would learn by facing her wrath. The great chamber of the Galactic Council curved in a perfect circle. 17 raised platforms held the seats of the member species. Catherine stood on the small human platform, lower than the others as befitted a non-member race. "The Council recognizes Earth Ambassador Catherine Winters," announced the chairperson, a tall insectoid from the Telgian hives. Catherine stepped forward. The chamber's perfect acoustics carried her voice to every corner. "Honored council members, I come before you today not to discuss Earth's membership petition, but a more urgent matter." Murmurs spread through the chamber. This was not on the agenda. "I have discovered evidence that certain council members plan to designate Earth as a resource world without our consent." The chamber erupted in noise. The chairperson banged a ceremonial staff 3 times, restoring order. The Exarathi ambassador rose from his crystalline seat. His voice sounded like grinding stones. "These are serious accusations, Ambassador Winters. Where is this alleged evidence?" Catherine activated her datapad, projecting documents into the chamber's shared visual space. "These records from your own secure database outline the plan. They bear your personal encryption key, Ambassador Voss of Tareth, and yours, High Commander's Rek of Vrelkar." The reptilian Vrelkar ambassador hissed loudly. His tail lashed against his platform. "This is a fabrication. Humans do not have the technology to access our secure systems." Catherine kept her face neutral, not revealing that Earth's cyber capabilities far exceeded what they had shared with the Council. "The evidence speaks for itself. I formally request an emergency session to investigate these claims." The chairperson consulted briefly with other council members. "The council will recess for 2 hours to examine these documents. Ambassador Winters, you will surrender your datapad for verification." Catherine handed over her device. She had expected this. The important data was already on its way to Earth. As the chamber emptied, she felt eyes on her back. The Exarathi ambassador stared at her, with his crystal facets glittering coldly. Back in her quarters, Catherine contacted Alan. "Did the package reach Earth?" Alan nodded. "General Clark confirmed receipt. He's put the fleet on standby alert." "Good. Things might get complicated." Alan looked worried. "Catherine, you've made powerful enemies today. The Exarathi don't forget slights. Better enemies than letting Earth become their mining colony." She sighed. "Get some rest. Tomorrow will be busy." After Alan left, Catherine secured her quarters and checked her hidden weapon. Council rules prohibited diplomats from carrying arms, but Catherine never followed rules that endangered her mission. Her computer terminal chimed with an incoming message. It was from an anonymous source. "They will come for you tonight. Be ready. Not all aliens wish to see humans fail." Catherine erased the message. She had suspected that Exarathi would not wait for official channels. Their culture valued decisive action above all else. She made her bed look occupied and positioned herself in the shadows near the door, weapon ready. 3 hours later, her door slid open silently. 2 figures entered. Vrelkar security forces with weapons drawn. They approached the bed cautiously. Catherine stepped forward. "Looking for me?" The Vrelkar spun around, but Catherine was faster. Her first shot stunned one guard. The second guard fired, missing as Catherine rolled across the floor. Her second shot found its mark. She checked the corridor. Clear for now, but alarms would sound soon. Catherine accessed the nearest terminal and sent a pre-prepared message to Alan. Protocol Baba Yaga initiated. As she turned to leave, pain exploded in her back. The Exarathi ambassador stood at the far end of the corridor, holding an energy weapon. "Humans are too dangerous to join us," he said coldly. Catherine fell to her knees as darkness clouded her vision. Her last thought was of Earth, vulnerable without her protection. The Exarathi approached her body and spoke into a communicator. "The human ambassador has suffered an unfortunate accident. Prepare a statement for the council." What the Exarathi didn't know was that Protocol Baba Yaga wasn't a distress call. It was a promise of return. Morning came to the Galactic Council station. The news of Ambassador Catherine Winters' tragic death spread quickly. The official report stated that her quarters had experienced an atmospheric regulator malfunction. A sad accident, nothing more. In the council chamber, representatives offered formal condolences to Deputy Ambassador Alan Mitchell. He accepted them with a stiff nod, his face pale. "Earth mourns the loss of Ambassador Winters," he said formally. "We request the return of her remains." The chairperson bobbed her insectoid head. "Of course. And regarding yesterday's accusations," Alan's voice was flat. "Without Ambassador Winters and her evidence, Earth withdraws the complaint for now." The Exarathi ambassador's crystalline form glittered with satisfaction. The Vrelkar commander flicked his tongue, a gesture of completion. When the session ended, 7 council members returned to their private quarters. Each found something unexpected waiting for them. A small wooden doll sitting on their sleeping platforms. The dolls were crude by galactic standards, carved from earthwood with simple faces painted on them. The Exarathi ambassador crushed his doll to splinters. The Vrelkar commander ordered a full security sweep of his quarters. The other 5 members reported the strange objects to station security. Chief Security Officer Drav, a blue-skinned Moraxian, brought one of the dolls to Alan Mitchell. "Can you explain this human artifact?" 7 council members received them. Alan looked at the doll and went even paler. "This is a token of Baba Yaga." "Explain this term." In old Earth folklore, Baba Yaga was a witch who lived in the forest. If you wronged her, she would return for vengeance. These dolls are a warning from Earth folklore. Drav's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Are you threatening council members?" "Ambassador Mitchell, I did not place these dolls," Alan said. "But I would advise those who received them to examine their consciences." Security was doubled throughout the station that night. The Vrelkar commander surrounded himself with 6 armed guards in his private quarters. He did not feel safe even then. "Check the security systems again," he ordered. The guard captain nodded. "System shows all clear, Commander. No one can enter without alerting us." The commander settled onto his sleeping platform. "Wake me in 4 hours." 2 hours later, the guard captain approached the sleeping platform to check on his commander. He found only another wooden doll where the Vrelkar had been. Alarms blared throughout the station. Security teams rushed to the commander's quarters. Drav himself led the investigation. "How is this possible?" he demanded. 6 guards, sealed doors, motion sensors everywhere. No one had an answer. The security recording showed nothing, just the commander sleeping one moment, and a wooden doll in his place the next. In the human diplomatic wing, Alan Mitchell received an urgent message from Earth. It contained only 5 words. "The package has been delivered." He allowed himself a small smile. The next morning, the council called an emergency session. The chairperson's voice trembled slightly as she spoke. "The disappearance of Commander Zrek is being investigated. Until then, all council business will continue as scheduled." The Exarathi ambassador arose. "This is clearly a human action. Their ambassador makes accusations, dies conveniently, and then our colleague disappears. We must detain all humans on this station." Alan stood. Earth had nothing to do with this. Perhaps the commander fled because of guilty conscience. The chamber erupted in angry shouts. Meanwhile, in a hidden section of the station, the Vrelkar commander woke in a small room. His limbs were bound to a chair. The room was dark except for a single light shining down on him. A human figure stepped into the light. The commander hissed in shock. "Ambassador Winters, impossible. You're dead." Catherine Winters smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Her eyes were cold and hard. "The council should have checked Earth's history more carefully," she said softly. "Humans have a long memory for betrayal." The commander struggled against his bonds. "What do you want?" "Confession," Catherine said, holding up a recording device. "You're going to tell me everything about the plan against Earth, every name, every detail. And if I refuse," Catherine's smile widened, "then you'll learn why humans fear Baba Yaga." The Galactic Council station buzzed with fear. 3 days had passed since Commander Zrek vanished. 2 more council members had disappeared since then, Both had received wooden dolls. Security teams patrolled every corridor. Weapons were drawn at the smallest sounds. Chief Security Officer Drav hadn't slept in days. His 4 eyes were red from exhaustion. "Nothing on the sensors again," reported his deputy. "It's like they're being taken by ghosts." "There are no ghosts," Drav snapped. "Only technology we don't understand." A message arrived from the docking bay. A human ship had arrived with Earth's temporary replacement for Ambassador Winters. Drav went personally to meet the new human diplomat. He found a woman waiting at the docking port. She was younger than Winters had been, with blonde hair and an open face. "Lieutenant Susan Crawford," she introduced herself. "I'm serving as interim ambassador until Earth sends a permanent replacement." Drav studied her carefully. She seemed nervous, clutching her diplomatic bag tightly. "You've arrived at a difficult time, Ambassador Crawford." Susan nodded. "I heard about the disappearances. How terrible. 3 council members gone without a trace," Drav confirmed. "And all received those human dolls." "Dolls?" Susan looked confused. "What kind of dolls?" Deputy Mitchell called them symbols of Baba Yaga, a human myth of vengeance. Susan's eyes widened. "Oh, the witch from the forest. My grandmother used to tell me those stories." She shivered. "Creepy children's tales, nothing more." Drav escorted her to the human diplomatic wing. "Perhaps you can help us understand these events. They began after Ambassador Winters' death." "I'll try, but I'm new to diplomacy," Susan said with an apologetic smile. "I was a cultural liaison before this assignment. The diplomatic corps is stretched thin since the incident." In the council chamber that afternoon, Susan was introduced formally. The Exarathi ambassador glittered menacingly. "Another human sent to threaten us." "I'm just a temporary replacement," Susan said meekly. "I hope to maintain peaceful relations during this difficult time." The chairperson gestured to an empty platform. "The Ordis ambassador has not been seen since yesterday." Another disappearance. Susan gasped appropriately. "How terrible. Can I help with the investigation?" The Exarathi ambassador's voice grated like stones. "Why would we want human help? This began with you." "With respect, Ambassador Voss," Susan replied. "Humans have different perspectives that might be useful. Sometimes an outsider sees what others miss." The council reluctantly agreed to let Susan join the investigation team. As the session ended, the Exarathi ambassador approached her. "Your predecessor made enemies here. I advise you not to follow her path." Susan lowered her eyes. "I'm not Catherine Winters. I just want to help." That night, in her private quarters, Susan's demeanor changed completely. She activated a jamming device that blocked all surveillance and opened a hidden compartment in her diplomatic bag. A secure communication device emerged. She spoke into it quietly. "The council is terrified. 4 members gone now. Exarathi ambassador suspects nothing." Catherine's voice replied from the device. "Good work, Susan. The Ordis ambassador has been secured. His confession matches the others." "What's our next move?" Susan asked. "I need access to the central security hub. Drav has the clearance we need." Susan nodded. "He's exhausted, making mistakes. I can get close to him." "Be careful," Catherine warned. "The Exarathi have their own security forces operating independently." After ending the communication, Susan replaced the device in its hiding place. Meanwhile, deep in the maintenance tunnels beneath the station, Catherine moved silently through areas that didn't appear on any official maps. Earth intelligence had mapped these secret passages years ago. She approached a hidden door where 2 human operatives guarded 4 alien prisoners, the missing council members. "Has the Ordis ambassador talked?" she asked. "Everything," one guard confirmed. "Gave us names we didn't have before." Catherine checked her list. 3 conspirators remained free: the Exarathi ambassador, a Telgian trade minister, and Chief Drav himself. "Tomorrow we take the Telgian," she decided. "Then we'll be ready for the final phase." She looked at the wooden doll in her hand, identical to those left for the conspirators. The legend of Baba Yaga spreads, she said softly. And so does the fear. The Telsian trade minister disappeared during the night cycle. In the morning, another wooden doll was found where she should have been. 5 council members gone. 12 remained, and they were terrified. An emergency session was called. The Exorathi ambassador's crystalline form pulsed with angry light. This cannot continue. We must lock down the entire station and search every human area. They are behind this. Susan Crawford sat quietly, watching the panic spread. She had been on the station for 3 days now, playing her role perfectly. With respect, she said softly, if humans were responsible, wouldn't we target all council members? Why only these 5? The room fell silent. The chairperson's insectoid head turned toward Susan. What are you suggesting, Ambassador Crawford? Susan looked down, as if afraid to speak. I've been reviewing station records. The 5 missing council members all served on the special committee that investigated Ambassador Winter's death. Chief Security Officer Drav stepped forward. That information is classified. Not to Earth, Susan said. We received the committee roster before communications were restricted. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Exorathi ambassador's voice cut through the noise. Are you accusing the council of wrongdoing in Winter's death? Deputy Ambassador Alan Mitchell, who had been silent until now, stood up. Earth formally requests a reopening of the investigation into Ambassador Winter's death. We have new evidence to present. What evidence? Demanded Drav. Alan activated a data projection showing security footage. This was recovered from Ambassador Winter's personal emergency beacon. It shows 2 Vrelkar security officers entering her quarters before the alleged malfunction. The footage played, but cut off before showing what happened next. This proves nothing, the Exorathi ambassador said dismissively. Security checks were routine that night. Then why weren't they in the official report? Alan asked. Chief Drav looked uncomfortable. An oversight, perhaps. The council session ended in disorder. No decisions were made except to further increase security throughout the station. That night, Chief Drav entered his private quarters exhausted. 6 days without proper rest had taken their toll. He removed his security badge and weapon, placing them on a table. Computer, privacy mode, he ordered. Privacy mode engaged, the computer responded. Drav moved toward his sleeping chamber, but stopped short. Someone was sitting in the shadows of his room. Security override, he shouted. Nothing happened. The figure stood and stepped into the light. Drav's 4 eyes widened in shock. Ambassador Winters. Impossible. Catherine Winters smiled coldly. The dead have a way of returning, especially when they were never really dead. Drav lunged for his weapon, but Catherine was faster. She had it before he could reach the table. How did you get in here? The security systems were designed by races who think they're the most advanced in the galaxy, Catherine finished. Humans let you believe that. Drav sank into a chair. What do you want? Catherine sat across from him. The truth, Chief Drav. You investigated my death. You saw the real evidence before it was altered. I follow orders, Drav said defensively. From the Exorathi, or from someone higher in the council. Drav's eyes shifted nervously. You don't understand the politics at play. Earth's membership would change everything. Some powerful interests don't want that. Catherine leaned forward. The humans have a saying. You never see Baba Yaga coming until she's already there. I'm already here. Drav, I have 5 council members in custody. All have confessed. What will you do with me? Drav asked, his voice shaking. That depends on you. Help me expose the truth, and you'll be treated fairly. Refuse, and you'll join the others. Catherine placed a data pad between them. The unaltered security footage from my quarters. Where is it? Drav hesitated, then his shoulders slumped. The Karathi have it. They're the ones who ordered the assassination. The rest of us just looked away. Access codes to their secure database. I can give you mine. But it won't be enough. You need Ambassador Voss's biometric signature. Catherine smiled. One problem at a time. Chief Drav, make your choice. Drav looked at the wooden doll Catherine held. The simple carved face seemed to stare into his soul. I'll help you, he said finally. The Exarathi have gone too far this time. A wise decision, Catherine said. Now let's talk about how we're going to access that Exarathi database without anyone knowing we were there. With Chief Drav's help, Catherine accessed the station's security network. She now moved freely through any sector without detection. The cameras would show empty corridors where she walked. Doors opened for her without recording who passed through. The Exarathi database is isolated from the main system. Drav explained as they worked in his private office. It's housed in their diplomatic wing. Catherine studied the schematics. What about physical security? 6 guards at all times. Crystal-based scanners that detect any non-Exarathi life forms. Susan Crawford joined them, having slipped away from a diplomatic reception. The Exarathi ambassador is getting desperate. He's requested permission to leave the station for personal reasons. Catherine smiled. He's running scared. The council denied his request. Susan added, no one is allowed to leave until the missing members are found. Catherine turned to Drav. Can you get me Ambassador Voss's schedule? Drav pulled up a file on his screen. He's meeting with the Arcturian delegation in 2 hours. After that, he returns to his private chambers for the rest cycle. Perfect, Catherine said. We move tonight. While they planned, Alan Mitchell was working on the diplomatic front. He formally submitted Earth's evidence to the Council, requesting a full investigation into the conspiracy against Earth. The chairperson was reluctant but couldn't ignore the mounting evidence. Too many council members had disappeared. Too many questions remained unanswered about Catherine's death. A special session will be called tomorrow, she announced. All evidence will be presented. The Exarathi ambassador returned to his quarters that evening, his crystalline form glowing dimly with stress. His security team swept the rooms, finding nothing unusual. Leave me, he ordered them. But stay alert outside. When the door closed, Ambassador Voss moved to his private terminal. He began deleting files, destroying evidence of the conspiracy. With the 5 other conspirators missing, he couldn't take chances. In a hurry, Ambassador, a voice asked from behind him. Voss spun around, his crystal form flashing bright with alarm. Catherine Winters sat calmly in his private chamber. You, he rasped. This is impossible. Yet here I am, Catherine said. The human you tried to kill. How did you get past my guards? The sensors. Catherine smiled. Human technology has advanced further than we've shown the Council. We decided it was better to be underestimated. Voss backed away. What do you want? Justice, Catherine said simply. For Earth and for myself. The Exarathi ambassador's form hardened, crystal plates shifting into defensive position. You won't leave this room alive. Not this time. I'm not alone, Catherine said. The door opened. Chief Drav entered with 2 security officers. Ambassador Voss, you're under investigation for conspiracy and attempted murder, Drav announced. The Exarathi let out a grinding sound of rage. Traitor, you side with humans against your own council. I side with justice, Drav replied calmly. Voss suddenly lunged toward a hidden panel in the wall. You're too late. I've already activated the emergency protocol. Catherine moved with surprising speed, tackling the crystalline alien. They crashed to the floor together. Voss was stronger, his crystal body cutting into Catherine's skin. Security, Catherine shouted. Drav and his officers rushed forward, restraining the Exarathi ambassador. Catherine stood up, blood trickling from cuts on her arms. Check that panel. What did he activate? One officer examined the hidden controls. It looks like a transmission system, but it's been modified. Catherine's eyes widened. It's not sending a message, it's broadcasting. She rushed to the Exarathi's computer terminal. The screen showed a live feed transmitting to every display on the station. He's broadcasting his own confession, she realized. On screens throughout the station, the Exarathi's earlier actions played for all to see: his deletion of files, his panic at Catherine's appearance, his admission of the conspiracy. The broadcast cut off as Drav's officers disabled the system. But the damage was done. Catherine looked at Voss with surprise. You just exposed yourself to the entire council. The Exarathi's crystal body dimmed in defeat. It wasn't a confession broadcast. It was a distress signal to my people. You've triggered a diplomatic incident that will end with Earth's destruction. Catherine's confident smile faltered for the first time since her return. Alarms blared throughout the Galactic Council station. The emergency broadcast had thrown everything into chaos. Council members and station personnel rushed to emergency positions. In the Exarathi ambassador's quarters, Catherine quickly recovered from her surprise. She turned to Chief Drav. How long before Exarathi ships could reach the station? 12 hours at least, Drav replied. Their nearest military base is in the Rigel sector. Catherine nodded. Then we still have time. Take Ambassador Voss into custody. Full security protocols. As Drav's officers led the crystalline alien away, Catherine activated her secure communicator. Alan, are you monitoring station communications? Alan Mitchell's voice came through clearly. Yes. The council is gathering for an emergency session. The chairperson has called for all ambassadors. And the Exarathi distress signal. Our techs are analyzing it. It's encrypted, but they're making progress. Catherine made her decision. It's time to end this. Have Susan meet me outside the council chamber in 30 minutes. Catherine moved quickly through the station's corridors, no longer hiding her presence. Station personnel stared in shock at the human ambassador they had believed dead. Some backed away in fear, whispering Baba Yaga as she passed. Chief Drav joined her near the council chamber with his security team. The station's defensive systems are on high alert, he reported. But if Exarathi battle fleet arrives, they won't get the chance, Catherine said firmly. Where are the missing council members being held? In secure quarters on level 7, as you ordered. Catherine nodded. Bring them to the council chamber, all of them. Susan Crawford was waiting outside the massive doors of the chamber. Her eyes widened at Catherine's appearance. You're going in there yourself. That wasn't the plan. Plans change, Catherine replied. The Exarathi have forced our hand. Inside the council chamber, panic reigned. The chairperson struggled to maintain order as representatives shouted questions and demands. The massive doors swung open. Catherine Winters walked in, flanked by Chief Drav and Susan Crawford. A hush fell over the chamber. Ambassador Winters, the chairperson said, her insectoid voice trembling. You are alive. Very much so, Catherine replied, her voice carrying throughout the silent room. And I bring evidence of a conspiracy against Earth and this council. The Exarathi representative who had replaced Ambassador Voss rose from his seat. This is a human deception. Our ambassador has been taken prisoner. Your ambassador attempted to assassinate me, Catherine said calmly. When that failed, he and his conspirators tried to cover up their crimes. She activated a projection system, displaying the security footage from her quarters on the night of the accident. The entire council watched as Vrelkar's security forces entered her room as the Exarathi ambassador fired the weapon that had nearly killed her. This is fabricated, the Exarathi representative shouted. The doors opened again. Chief Drav's officers led in the 5 missing council members. They looked exhausted but unharmed. These council members were not harmed, Catherine announced. They were detained and questioned about their role in the conspiracy. All have provided testimony. The council erupted in noise. The chairperson banged her ceremonial staff repeatedly. Order. I demand order. When quiet returned, Catherine continued. The Exarathi plan was simple. Eliminate Earth's ambassador, classify Earth as a resource world, and begin mining operations. Those who opposed were to be silenced. And now, as Rethi warships approach our station, the chairperson said, "You have brought us to the brink of war, Ambassador Winters." Catherine stepped forward. "No warships are coming." She nodded to Alan Mitchell, who activated his communication device. The distress signal was intercepted and blocked by an Earth vessel stationed outside the Council perimeter. The Harbinger. On the main view screen, a massive human warship decloaked near the station. It was unlike any vessel the Council had seen before, sleek, dark, and bristling with advanced weapon systems. "The technology you thought we had," Catherine said quietly, "was just a fraction of our true capabilities." The Council chamber fell completely silent as the implications sank in. "Now," Catherine said, "shall we discuss Earth's membership in the Galactic Council? As equals." 1 month later, Catherine Winters stood at the same viewport where our story began. The stars looked different to her now. Not just beautiful, but familiar, like old friends. The door chimed softly behind her. "Enter," she called. Alan Mitchell stepped into her quarters, carrying a datapad. His face showed a mixture of satisfaction and disbelief. "It's official," he said. "The Council just voted. Earth is now the 18th full member of the Galactic Council." Catherine smiled. "Unanimous." "Nearly." The Exarathi abstained, but didn't vote against. "Their new ambassador is more reasonable than Voss." Catherine nodded. After the events now known as the Baba Yaga incident, the Exarathi government had recalled their entire diplomatic corps for revaluation. Ambassador Voss and his conspirators faced justice on their homeworlds, each according to their own legal systems. "What about the technology issue?" Catherine asked. Alan scrolled through his datapad. "The Council has formally acknowledged Earth's right to determine what technologies we share." The Harbinger made quite an impression. The human warship had remained visible for only 12 hours before cloaking again and returning to Earth space. But that had been enough. Scans by Council scientists had confirmed what many had feared. Humans were far more advanced than they had pretended to be. "And the Resource World proposal?" "Completely withdrawn," Alan confirmed. "In fact, the Council has instituted new protections for all developing worlds in the sector." "Your idea." Catherine turned back to the stars. "Not just mine. General Clark and Earth Command had this planned for years. I was just the catalyst." Susan Crawford entered the room without knocking, her former meekness completely gone. As Catherine's new deputy, she had proven herself both capable and cunning. "The chairperson is requesting your presence," she announced. "The platform-raising ceremony is about to begin." Catherine straightened her new diplomatic uniform, now bearing the insignia of a full Council ambassador. "We shouldn't keep them waiting." The three humans walked together through the station corridors. Station personnel nodded respectfully as they passed. No one whispered Baba Yaga anymore, at least not where Catherine could hear them. In the great chamber, all 17 Council members stood at their platforms. The human platform, once lower than the others, now rose to equal height as Catherine approached. The chairperson's voice echoed through the chamber. "Ambassador Catherine Winters of Earth, we welcome you and your people as full members of the Galactic Council." Catherine stepped onto the platform. "Earth accepts this honor with gratitude and respect. We look forward to a new era of cooperation." The formal ceremony continued, but Catherine found her mind wandering. She thought of the wooden dolls, the ancient Earth legend that had helped create a new legend among the stars. Sometimes symbols were more powerful than weapons. Later that evening, Catherine hosted a reception in the human diplomatic wing. Council members mingled uncomfortably, many still unsure how to treat these humans who had hidden so much from them. Chief Drav approached Catherine at the edge of the gathering. "I've been appointed to lead a new ethics committee," he said quietly. "The Council is determined to prevent another conspiracy like the one you exposed." "A wise decision," Catherine replied. "Trust must be rebuilt." Drav hesitated. "May I ask you something, Ambassador Winters?" "Of course." "The wooden dolls, the disappearances. You could have simply presented your evidence to the Council from the beginning." Why create such fear? Catherine looked around the room at the gathered representatives of 17 alien civilizations, beings who had once looked down on humans as primitive newcomers. Because fear is sometimes necessary, she said softly. To be heard, sometimes you must first be noticed. She placed a small wooden doll in Drad's hand. Keep this. As a reminder. A reminder of what? He asked. That appearances can be deceiving, that humans value justice above revenge, and that if pushed too far. Catherine didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Across the galaxy, in briefings and classrooms on 17 worlds, diplomatic and military instructors were already teaching the same lesson. Respect the humans. Treat them fairly, and never, ever make them send Baba Yaga for you.